today I'm going to be filming a minis. Well, we're going to be filming a minis video. So this is Bash, and he is he's got a nice theme. He also works with, like, I think Ferdinand and Dash. His brother is Dash, and so he's one of my favourite minis. I don't know why, I just like him. So, and he is quite nice, and he's got quite a nice face. I really like his face, don't know why. So, let's move on. So, this is Belle, and she is a fire train, like a fire engine sort of train. She is one of my favourite. She's a really nice figure. She's quite pretty, and I like her colour, the blue on her, because it's quite a nice blue. So we haven't had her for very long. I haven't had her for very long, and she's one of my favourites again. And let's go on to the next one. We have Aquatic Ben, and he is like not one of my favourites. I don't know why. I'm not very as keen on his face. As you can see, it's orange. I like the colour orange. It's just, it doesn't go particularly well. Well, it does with his outfit, but it's, well, not really his outfit, but his paintwork. So he is not one of my favourites, and I haven't had him for very long. He is actually quite sweet. So let's move on to the next mini. This is our duo Berties. You can see there are two of them. So it's actually quite cool, because he's one of my favourite minis in the world. He's really he's like a really cute sort of figure, isn't he? So he's got quite a nice bit there. So I've pretty much told you everything to know about him, so let's move on. This is Dash, and this is Dash. So this one is a different feature. I think this one was from 2016. This one's from 2017. So this one's a bit they're a bit different. They're not the same again. But my favourite is personally the one that's being holded. So let's move on to the next one. This is Diesel. He's one of, I don't know, but he's like a really cool mini, I think. And he's actually from 2016, I think. So he's not the youngest in the world, but he's not the oldest. So when I started collecting minis, I just got him. So I was very, very glad when I got him, and I like it. I just like the colour black, so I kind of like him. I like him. He looks nice. So let's move on to the next mini. So Dark is actually a Great Western Pannier tank, I think. So he is actually quite sweet. He is actually quite sweet. I don't know why, but I'm just saying that because he is quite sweet, isn't he? If you agree, then you agree. And I think you should agree, because he is very cute and sweet. And he's got quite a nice little figure. So, let's move on to the next mini, I guess. So, this is Ferdinand. And he was actually one of the first minis I got. I think in the first sort of packet. Now, he is quite old. He's one of my... Well, I do quite like him. What I think, he looks a bit different to all of the minis, because of the bit he's got here. It's slightly fatter. So, all of the other minis really have don't have that sort of circular bit there. So I think he would be quite hard to figure, because if you were trying to get him he's quite hard to figure, because he's not the easiest to memorise, and he's also a friend of Bash and Dash's. So let's move on to the next mini. This is Gator. He's actually aquatic gator, I think. He is meant to be a killer whale, I think. And so he is really, I wasn't like the happiest when I got him, but I was quite happy. He's quite nice, and if you look, he's got his little teeth here, and he's also got a proper little, you can tell he's a killer whale because he's got the actual whale sort of painted on his side. So we're finished with him, so let's move on to the next one. This is Robo Henry. He is actually quite nice because he's got a really nice grin, and he has quite, and his paint is actually quite shiny, not like all minis. So he's quite a nice figure as well. So he's got sort of bronze there and then gold sort of on his wheels, and he's a bit green. So I can safely say we can now move on to the next mini. This is Animal Hero. I do not know if he's a leopard or a jaguar or something, but I think he is some sort of thing. I can't really tell because I'm not much of an expert. So he's actually quite nice, and he once again I think has a little smile. He does. So yeah, that's all you need to know about him. So let's move on. So this is James. Now he's actually quite a nice mini. He's got like really nice shape, and he's number 5. He's a really nice shade of red, and he's just a really nice mini. So let's move on to the next one. So this here is Construction Millie. She is quite a nice sort of mini. So, but I'm not the keenest on the bricks on her. I mean, I know it's just for decoration and it's not real. It's paint, but it doesn't look like the best. So let's move on to the next mini. This is my favourite mini of all, and I can tell you why. Because he's my favourite Thomas the Tank Engine. He is the mail deliverer, I think, Percy, and he's my favourite because he's so sweet in Thomas and Friends. So yeah, let's move on to the next mini. This is Samson. I think he's a friend of Ferdinand, is he? Bash and Dash as well? Is he? I don't know. But I think he is. I can't be really sure because I haven't watched all of the Thomas and Friends things, but so that's pretty much everything I need to tell you about him. So let's move on. So this is Scruff, but there's something special about him. So he has the bottom of him and the wheels saying Millie. So the wheels are Millie's wheels, and the bottom where it says who they're named, it says Millie, and on the side it says Scruff. So it's a bit odd and it's quite rare. So let's move on to this is Mr. Sydney Bean. His real name is Sydney, but he is actually quite a nice mini. He's a diesel. He doesn't look like one of the horrible diesels, like Diesel 10. Well, Diesel 10 doesn't look that bad, but he is a bit evil, so he doesn't look as bad, does he? He really doesn't. So let's move on. This is Electrified Spencer. Also, I call him Lightning Spencer. And actually, he was the first one I ever got. And so and when I play with the minis, he goes crazy. So let's move on to the next mini. So this is my favourite. Well, not my favourite, but this is probably one of the rarest we have. He is See-Through Thomas, and we have two of him. And he is a special edition Thomas. So he isn't like, they don't make as much of him, do they? Nope, they don't. So I'm really glad I've got him. But the code is simple on the packet. I'm not going to tell it to you because then you'll just because I don't want you to know. I want to keep it simple. Secret, sorry. And it is pretty simple. So Thomas is quite a good figure as well, and I like it because if you can see, he's see-through, so you can see what's in him, and he's even got my favourite Thomas number, and this is the only way I memorise Thomas, because he's got the number 1. Because one of the minis looks a bit similar to Thomas, and he's blue as well, so it does look a bit similar, but he's number 3. I forgot who he was. But, so, that's all I really have. So, let's move on. This one's awesome. It even says his name. And it has the fat controller. He is Toby, as you may have seen. Yeah, you may have seen it. Because he is graffiti Toby, though. So, Toby doesn't just wander around on the tracks. In proper Thomas and Friends, going He doesn't do that, okay? And he doesn't have any graffiti on him in real life. So basically, he's that at the front all the time. So that's finished. Basically, let's move on. Can I tell you something cool? I think that's possible to. No, it isn't glow in the dark. Sorry, people. I thought it was going to be glow in the dark. It looked like it, but it isn't. So we just tested it in front of your own eyes. So you knew what it looked like. It was black. So this is 2017. This is 2016. Now, they are both troublesome trucks. You may have known. This one's monster, and this one's just normal. So technically, monster and normal. And I've just discovered. I've just discovered that there are more than 2 troublesome trucks. I used to think that because, you know why? Because I only ever see Diesel pulling 2. So that's the end of the troublesome trucks. This is Victor. Now, he does look a little bit similar to James, doesn't he? Who thinks that? I think it a little bit. He kind of does, because he's red and he kind of does-ish. So, I think we've done talking about him. I don't know why, but there's not much to talk about, so let's move on. Wait, there is nothing to move on to. Bye-bye.